Det er så nasty, det der. Det er ikke et børneprogram. Fuck, det var nasty. Det der kraft, det var det bedste, det der, mand. Hold kæft. Hvad fanden hedder de der videoer der? Conspiracy Theories. Cartoons. De der, fra den gang, sådan Conspiracy Theories, for dengang man var barn. De fucking griner nogle af de der konspirationsteori-videoer der. Den øverste der, ser den nøje ud.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to another video, and today we're gonna go over the 10 craziest Cartoon Network conspiracies. Before we get on the video, if you enjoyed, please leave a like and subscribe.
Stop, det er klamt det der. Det er fucking kogen.
And let's get straight on the video with number 10, Dexter's Laboratory. For any kid who liked building Legos or doing science experiments, Dexter's Laboratory was a dream. Having a secret lab underneath your house with unlimited amounts of resources that can literally be made into anything, as we saw with Dexter and his crazy inventions, was incredible. However, there have been some theories out there that say Dexter suffers from Asperger's syndrome, mainly inferred from his characteristics. We see him having a hard time socially, as he rarely interacts with other people. His repetitive behavior, as well as his immense fixation on his laboratory, are all attributes resulting from the syndrome. Another point that may reinforce this theory is that the show is told or seen through Dexter's point of view. People with Asperger's syndrome often have a hard time empathizing with other people.
Frygtløs den frygtsomme hund. Der er seriøst nogle fuck nøjende ting i den. Jeg tror, vi ser lige der er færdig, og så ser vi det der med den frygtløs hund bagefter. Det er fandme...
All see these supporting characters behave the way they do. Number 9, the Powerpuff Girls. The Powerpuff Girls was a huge hit among young girls because the 3 crime-fighting superheroes were each different and unique in their own ways. Because of this, viewers could identify with one of the girls, and it made the show that much more entertaining. There is a weird conspiracy theory out there that goes against this entire ideology. The theory states that the 3 different characters, Bubbles, Blossom, and Buttercup, are actually one female who suffers from multiple personality disorder. Bubbles represents the soft and emotional side. Buttercup is the opposite, who embodies the person's aggressive side. And finally, Blossom represents the ideal person the female host strives to be.
Det er godt ham der Balshit der fra Phineas og Ferb, gør. Han er en del af T-Series. Top to PewDiePie.
This theory is logical, but there's not much else that supports it. Number 8, Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry is definitely one of the more iconic cartoon duos out there for being widely entertaining. The show is simple. Tom is a cat and wants to catch Jerry, the mouse, but he always fails. It is a very childish show with minimal to no dialogue, but some people think its true meaning is beyond that. According to some, Tom and Jerry was actually Nazi propaganda because the show released approximately a year after World War II had begun, which was before America entered the war. Going further, British troops were called Tommies and German troops were called Jerrys. Since Jerry always won due to high intelligence, many fans think that the show represented Germany winning and outwitting British troops. Number 7, Scooby-Doo is another one of those shows that has existed for so many years with a strong fan base. The reasoning for this is because of the simple formula. The gang finds a mystery, they find clues about that mystery, and then they unmask who's responsible for the crime. Another reason why people like the show is because of the diverse characters. However, what if I were to tell you that Scooby-Doo is really just a drug-induced reality? There's a conspiracy theory out there that says Shaggy is a drug addict who is just imagining and making all of it up. For starters, his overall appearance is stereotypical for a stoner from the way he dresses. Apparently, Shaggy had been bullied by Velma for being dumb, by Freddy for being unathletic, and by Daphne for being ugly. Coming from a rich background, the result of this torment was turning to drugs. The more he used drugs, the worse it got. He started to imagine his dead dog was alive and was able to speak English. Then his bullies started to appear as friends. This just got real deep. Number 6, Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. This 2004 series...
man, hvad fuck er det hed? Fosters... Hvad fuck var det hed? Fosters... Fuck, det var legende, det show der, mand. Hvem kan huske det? Fuck, det var godt, det der, mand. Det hed Fosters Hjem, eller sådan noget. Hvad fanden er det hed? Nogen, der kan huske det? Det var sygt, man. Det var fucking cool. Fosters Hjem for fantasivenner. Der var den.
Had a long and memorable 5-year run due to its creative and interesting story about how forgotten imaginary friends were brought to the home for foster care.
Hvorfor var børne-tv bare på det peak på det tidspunkt, man? Fuck, det var godt.
The idea was so bizarre and unique that it turned out to be very successful. Of the many characters that exist in the show, Frankie and her godmother, Madame Foster, are part of a handful that are humans. Or are they? A conspiracy theory suggests that Madame Foster actually created Frankie as her imaginary friend due to the fact that she knew that her old age would catch up with her soon. By having Frankie around, Madame Foster could continue her legacy if she were to pass away. Some things that support this are that Frankie does not have a definite imaginary friend that she created herself. She also does not seem to have a life outside of the home. An even crazier theory is that Frankie made Madame Foster to cope with the death of her actual grandmother. This is why Madame Foster appears to be childish and acts similar to the imaginary friends. Number 5, Ed and Eddie.
Vidste I godt, at ham der Seps kanal, ham der danskeren der, ikke? Nej, ikke Seps kanal, hvad fanden snakker jeg om? Seps kanal, fanden. Han var ikke engang født dengang. Sepp, det er ham, der har lagt stemme til Chowder i Danmark.
Being one of the fan conspiracies.
Eddie, mand. Det er kraft, det er det bedste, det der, mand. Hold kæft. Ved hvad, guys? Det der, I forstår slet ikke meningen med Eddie. Meningen med det show har været så dyb, ikke? Det har handlet børn om at lære om økonomi lige fra starten af deres liv. De har ikke nogen penge. De vil gerne opnå mål om det her skide og kæftbolds her. Og så skal de på en eller anden måde tjene penge. Det her, det har været, altså det her, det var løvens hule, før der kom løvens hule, altså. Det mener jeg. Det der, det var økonomisk educational shit på højeste plan.
For the show Ed and Eddie, but the entire world of cartoons is the purgatory theory. The general idea here is that everyone who lives on the famous cul-de-sac, including our favorite Ed boys, are all dead and trapped.
Ed boys, that's my... Så hvis man er vi enige om, var jeg den eneste, der tvivl om det her, det var en kvinde eller ej? Jeg har altid troet, det var en kvinde, fordi så var der langt hår ind under den her sok her. Jeg har fucking altid troet, det var en kvinde.
In between world. Such evidence that fans have pointed out for this includes the characters' blue tongues, which happen at death. The
Me too, man. Er vi fucking enige? Man troede, det var en kvinde?
Characters beyond the kids who live there, endless summer, and the lack of other settings in the show. It's also thought that the kids involved died at different times anywhere between 1990 and the 2000s, which is why viewers are unable to determine exactly when the show takes place. As you can imagine, the theory has individual backgrounds for each character put together, but the list is simply too long to include in this video. The show's producer has debunked several aspects of this theory, but many fans still enjoy thinking about this crazy theory. Number 4, Adventure Time. Due to the bizarre and even outrageous nature of Adventure Time, the series has had quite a few different fan theories arise since its premiere. The most important, however,
så gør Cartoon Network, det er god mening, men jeg synes altid, det var Cartoon Network, der havde alle de mest fuck-programmer.
Is that the world of Adventure Time takes place after nuclear fallout.
Jeg havde ham med brættet. Jimmy er bøs.
Referred to as the Great
Fuck, de teorier skræmmer mig egentlig, er det enig, mand?
War. What makes this series so prominent is not only that it's the most well-known, but also that the show's creators have verified it to be true as well. Such hints about this occurring in the past include a large chunk of the globe missing when viewed from space. Characters even reference it in the show, and even a shot of nuclear warheads laying on the ground. It's also known that characters such as Ice King and Marceline the Vampire Queen are from the war. It's amazing to think that such a goofy and carefree show would have such a dark and serious past.
Så der noget af jorden der på det tidspunkt, der blev nuket, eller hvad? Holy fuck.
Number 3, Courage the Cowardly Dog. A lot of people remember Courage the Cowardly Dog for being such a weird TV show. The characters, dialogue, and overall vibe were very odd, so it was surprising to see how well it did. Looking back now, I think we can all agree that Courage lived with Muriel and
det er så nasty, det der. Det er ikke et børneprogram. Fuck, det var nasty.
Eustace in a place very similar to hell. In this conspiracy, Courage is Cerberus, or in Greek mythology, the guard dog of hell. With the wacky monsters he encounters and the complete opposite personalities of Muriel and Eustace has, this theory actually makes some sense. Courage is protecting Muriel, who represents mankind because of her kindness, from the horrors and sins that are represented through the continuous monsters we see on the show. Eustace is Satan, who is full of hatred and who is also the Hound's master. Number 2, Codename Kids Next Door. Anybody who watched this show remembers the
Kids Next Door, man. Fuck, det var fedt, det der.
Distinctive 5 main characters of the team who work to fight enemies such as adults and teenagers. The most popular
man, der var nostalgi helt over hele kroppen, man. Fuck, man, det er bedre end 6, det er, jeg mener.
Theory around the show, however, is that the kids aren't really hanging out in their incredible treehouse base, but they are rather patients in a hospital. Apparently, the idea of their organization that fights for good was conceived by a nurse who was hoping to cheer the kids up. Each member has a unique backstory that corresponds to their personality. Number 1 cared for his father with cancer that gave him the leadership trait he displays until he himself found out that he's under care for the same disease. Number 2 had a happy life until a spiteful uncle continued to force feed him until he was obese and required care. Number 3 became addicted to antidepressants, which made her ignorantly happy at all times. Number 4 grew up in a rough neighborhood, and his personality reflected it until he was stabbed. Finally, number 5 wished to be a better mother figure than her own, who abusively beat her and was the cause for her to stay in the hospital. And number 1, Cartoon Network's shared universe. Like the Pixar theory, there's a conspiracy theory that states all the Cartoon Network's classic shows were in a shared universe. It starts with a miniseries called The Justice Friends. The characters in the series actually appear in both Dexter's Laboratory and the Powerpuff Girls, thus meaning that they're all in the same universe. It's even confirmed that Samurai Jack is in the same universe as the Powerpuff Girls through
Ej, fuck, det var nøje noget af det. Man fik også noget nostalgi. Fuck, man, det er bedre end 6, det er det, mener.